Okay, hello everyone. Good afternoon from Indonesia. And before the event start today, may I introduce myself first? Yeah, my name is Adit from the Public Relation Office Universitas Gadjah Mada, and today I will conduct as an MC for this today's meeting. Yeah, so before our program starts, we still have 15 minutes. So before our program starts, we remind you all participants to fill in the attendance list on Google Classroom, yeah, and we remind you to please type the question on Zoom chat session, yeah, and the selected questions will be invited to deliver the question live, and the selected questions also will get the dream souvenirs from the KUI, yeah, and we remind you also to who have joined the Zoom meeting. Please be able to mute the audio first, and if the device and connection support, please turn on the video. Yeah, once again, for you who have joined together in Zoom meeting, to please be able to mute the audio first, and if the device or the connection support, please turn on the video. Thank you very much and be happy to join this event. And we still have 10 until 15 minutes, so we can share experience or tell a little story about yourself maybe, or maybe those in your country or whatever. Yeah, so let's get started. I will pick random participants on Room Zoom meeting. Maybe I will pick um mm, who is that? Mm, maybe Janessa Kudera. Janessa Kudera is.
Hi, good
Oh,
afternoon.
hey, good afternoon, Janessa. So, may I call you Janessa, Jane or Janessa?
Janessa would be good, thank you.
Okay. So, where do you come from, Janessa?
I'm from the Philippines.
Philippines. So,
Yes.
how many times have you joined DREaM program?
Oh, it's actually my first time.
Oh, this is your first time.
Yes.
Okay. So, maybe for the today's topic, yeah, talk about COVID-19. So, what are the condition in your country right now?
Well, the conditions here aren't actually favorable because since the lockdown started, the cases have actually just been increasing, and um, for us, it seems that there is no end near yet because yeah, because as of now, there are actually a lot more cases.
Mm,
For a couple of times we've actually been in the top 20 cases
yes.
globally, and that
Mm,
is really concerning for us since our country is not that rich in terms of resources. So the response has been very inadequate, and because of that, we're still in lockdown, and
mm,
lockdowns here are still very strict,
mm.
even though the cases haven't been decreasing yet. So
Oh,
hopefully by next year things will go back to normal. Although uh, in the pace we're going now, that seems kind of unlikely.
okay. So, how about school? Mall? I think yeah, it's still closed for public.
Schools are still closed, but
Mm,
malls are open.
mm,
The government decided to reopen the economy,
um,
but schools remain closed. So we
okay.
have our schools now online.
Okay. And how does the government handle the COVID-19 case in Philippines?
Well, I'm not sure if you're familiar with this, but our president is kind of dealing with it uh, inadequately, really inadequately. He's not directly responding to the virus. He's dealing with other stuff, which is kind of frustrating on our end since we just want things to go back to normal, and he doesn't
I
seem
mean,
to have the same sentiments. So it's
yeah.
really frustrating.
So yeah, we do hope that we can go back to normal again. Yeah. Thank you, Jen, for interview with us. Yeah,
Thank you so
and
much.
thank you so much. And I think we want to move with the gentleman. Yeah. So I'll pick a random name here. Um, who is okay? Mohammed Bah. Ah, can you hear my voice? Mohammed Bah. MEB 21391. Mohammed Bah.
Yes, how are you?
Okay, I'm fine. And you?
Alhamdulillah, I'm good.
Alhamdulillah. So where do you come from? Wait. So I can call you Mr. Muhammad?
Anyway, it's okay. Mr. Mohammed or Mohammed is fine.
Okay. Muhammad, yeah?
Yeah.
So Muhammad, where do
Yes.
you come from?
I came from Gambia.
Oh, Gambia.
Yeah.
Oh, Gambia. So how many times have you joined DREaM? Is it your the first time?
Yeah, this is my first time.
Oh, so you are a student in university?
Sekolah.
Oh, okay. So maybe the same question as Mbak Jane, yeah? Talk about
Yeah.
COVID-19. Maybe what are the condition in your country right now?
My country, as of now, the cases, for the last update, we have only one cases there.
Wow, only one
Yeah.
case.
One case.
Oh, so so now your country is in a normal condition.
Yeah, it's in normal condition as of now.
Alhamdulillah. So maybe how does the government handle your country is only have one cases and now your country is in a normal condition. How the government handle the COVID-19 case?
Really, they try very well to handle because they try to take all the safety precautions in order to make sure that the country is well safe from the COVID-19 when the cases are trying to increase there. But they have put a strong mechanisms to make sure that the borders are well closed, the social interaction is well respected, and the use
Mm.
of masks also in the public places are well monitored very well. So that lead to the reduce of the COVID-19 in Gambia anyway.
Okay. So the public the public places or the school is open in
Yeah, the
Gambia.
school is open. Yeah, it's open now. Yeah.
Okay, wow, congratulations for your country ya, Mas
Yeah.
Muhammad ya. So,
Yeah, Muhammad.
um, do you know Yogyakarta maybe ya?
Yeah, of course. I know Jakarta, but I has never been there.
Oh, so you ever visit Jogja for how many times?
No, I never visit Jogja. It's my friend
Oh,
who
you
study
never
in
visit
Jogja.
Jogja ya?
Yeah.
Okay. So, what do you think about Jogja? Maybe you ever visit by website maybe or you ever visit by Instagram. So, what is your first impression or maybe your impression about Jogja maybe?
Yeah, it's really amazing because I really love the place. Maybe to pay a visit there one day because when my boy studied there, he told me about Jogja, life in Jogja and the environment. So that make me feel so happy that at least when I finish completed my first degree, I would like to do my S2 there, inshallah.
Inshallah. So, do you want to continue your study in Jogja?
Yeah, I want to do my master's in Jogja.
Oh, you want to continue your master degree in Jogja? So,
Yeah.
we have Pak Rector here. Welcome.
Okay. Okay. Good afternoon. Good afternoon,
Yeah,
everybody. How are you?
yeah.
Good afternoon, Pak
Everyone,
Rector.
please wave your hand to
Okay.
Pak Rector.
Okay. Yeah. Please, I check my background first.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Mas Mohammed, for
Uh,
today's meeting. Yeah.
okay, I have
So,
one more question.
okay. Thank you.
I, I can see on.
Okay. So, uh, maybe um one gentleman again. Yeah. I want to pick what is that? Okay,
Okay.
Mas. Oh, Mas ya. Seo Jin Kim. Wah, Seo Jin Kim. Have you joined this room Zoom meeting?
Hello.
Oh,
Hello.
so you're ladies, yeah?
Um,
Okay. So maybe you want to introduce yourself first. Maybe your a name.
yes, my name is Sojin Kim. and I am 21 years old.
21 years old.
Yes, I'm from South Korea.
South
And
Korea.
yes, majoring in aviation tourism at Hanseo University.
Hansel University.
Yes.
Hanseo, okay.
Okay.
Hanseo, yeah, I visited Hanseo once.
Okay.
Yeah, in short term of Korea, yeah.
Yeah, the Southeast Korea, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe Sherjan, do you want to continue your study in Universitas Gadjah Mada maybe?
Yes.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Maybe the general question, yeah. Do you want to continue your study in Jogja maybe?
Yes.
Yes.
I want.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So talk about COVID-19 maybe as same as the two previous your friend. So how about your condition of your country in your country maybe?
Currently, my um Koreans. Mm,
Yeah,
uh,
in Korean still have any case, a new
yes.
case maybe?
Aviation industry situation is very terribly.
Hmm.
So I worried about that. I'm worried about that.
Okay. So how about the public places like malls, schools, or the other public places? Is still open or maybe a school is open for public maybe?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Okay, thank you. So, do you want to deliver some message for Rector Universitas Gadjah Mada maybe? Shajan Kim?
Yes, Eugene, Kim.
Maybe you want to, please, Pak Rector, I want to continue my study in UGM, please.
Okay,
Accept me.
yeah.
Okay.
Pak Dadang will prepare scholarship, yeah, if you come here.
Okay. Thank you, Shijan Kim, for
Thank
interviewing with
you.
us. Yeah. So we have 5 minutes more to start our agenda today. So everyone, once again, we remind you who have joined together in Zoom meeting to please be able to mute the audio first. And if the device and connection support, please turn on the video. Yeah. Once again, everyone who have joined together in Zoom meeting to please be able to mute the audio first. And if the device and connection support, please turn on the video. Thank you very much and be happy to join this event. So everyone, let's start our agenda today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon from Indonesia, ladies and gentlemen. We do hope you all are always in a good condition, yeah? First of all, we would like to welcome the first, Your Excellencies, Rector Universitas Gadjah Mada, Dean Faculty of Medicine, Public Health and Nursing, Universitas Gadjah Mada, the Director for Partnership, Alumni, and International Affairs, Universitas Gadjah Mada, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the 12th UGM DREaM International Virtual Short Program 2020, Resilience Amidst Global Pandemic, on today, November 20, 2020. It's a beautiful day, right? And well, ladies and gentlemen, the theme for Virtual DREaM 2020 is Resilience Amidst Global Pandemic. Due to a COVID-19 pandemic, DREaM 2020 conducted virtually while still adapting to the existing DREaM content that has been implemented for the last 11 years. The participants of DREaM 2020 are 82 participants from undergraduate and graduate students from 37 universities from 17 countries around the world. The aim of this program is that we can get to know more about the awareness and knowledge regarding the issue of resilience in global pandemic. And then it's also to build networks among youths around the world as an agents of change in accordance with their respective fields. And sure, to introduce local wisdom and Indonesian culture to international audience. And on today's meeting, we will have a welcoming remarks from Rector Universitas Gadjah Mada, discussion with two speakers. The first speaker is Dr. Tara Mona Kessaram as a team lead non-communicable diseases and healthier population from WHO Indonesia. And the second speaker is Professor Ova Emilia as the Dean Faculty of Medicine, Public Health and Nursing, Universitas Gadjah Mada, also as a medical expert team at Indonesian COVID-19 Response Acceleration Task Force. Let us start the agenda this afternoon with a welcoming remarks from Rector Universitas Gadjah Mada, His Excellencies Professor Panut Mulyono, please.
Okay, thank you so much, Mas Adit. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May peace be upon all of you. Her Excellency Professor Ova Emilia, the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine, Public Health and Nursing, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Matur nuwun, Bu Dekan, thank you so much for your kindness to be speaker in this event today. Excellency Dr. Tora Morakesaram, welcome to Universitas Gadjah Mada virtually. We really appreciate your presence in this event, and we are looking forward to your sharing. We also have here Pak Danang, Pak Andi, and team from the Office of International Affairs. Thank you so much for organizing this event. I understand that this is for the first time we organize DREaM virtually after 12 years since it started. COVID-19 really bring us rooms for innovation. My beloved participants from all over the world, I would like to welcome all participants and observers from 38 universities in 17 countries. In total, as Mas Adi said, that there are 82 participants, a number that may not be easy to reach if the event is not conducted virtually. Once again, COVID-19 is behind all of this. That is why the topic for this year's DREaM is relevant and timely. Resilience amidst global pandemic. Today, we are going to hear information, insight, and views from two prominent speakers, Professor Ova Emilia and Dr. Kessaram. I'm sure both of them have a lot to share. Thank you, Pak Danang, for being a moderator today. Ladies and gentlemen, conducted virtually, I'm imagine it is not easy for a short program like DREaM to achieve its purpose and goals, to connect and build network among participants. For my generation, at least, networking without physical meeting is not easy. However, I believe most, if not all, participants are digital native. I'm sure that you will adapt swiftly and get the most out of this virtual event. With technology, especially social media, you can connect with each other as if you are living close by. In the coming weeks, we will have more prominent speakers, such as ambassadors, CEOs, public authorities, academicians, and NGOs. We will learn from them how they cope with the global pandemic and what advice they have for us to project our future. For participants coming from different countries and continents, you will also get exposed to the Indonesian tradition and culture in a professional context and life in general. Not only you will learn Indonesian culture, you will also get to know each other among participants and learn culture from different parts of the world. For my fellow Indonesian participants, let us be good hosts and learn from our friends from all over the world. Ladies and gentlemen, with COVID-19, we are once again reminded that we are one. We live in the same planet and we are all dependent upon each other. What happened in village in Europe, for example, is not isolated since it can eventually affect someone living in a village in Asia. COVID-19 is a real example. With an event like DREAMS, we will find a way how we should deal with this method. This event, I hope, will be a good medium for the young generation like you to strengthen a connection. COVID-19 again reminds us that we really live in the era of collaboration instead of competition. Once again, I welcome everybody to UGM. I hope everybody will enjoy the program and manage to get the most out of this first ever virtual DREAM. This DREAM is spiritual, but we hope it can help you to make your dream real. Thank you very much. God bless us. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Rector Universitas Gadjah Mada. The welcome greeting from Rector means that DREAM 2020 events are officially open, yeah? Ladies and gentlemen, now we are moving to our next agenda. There will be a discussion with two speakers, yeah? The first speaker is Dr. Tara Morakesaram as a team lead non-communicable diseases and healthier population from WHO Indonesia. And the second speaker is Professor Ova Emilia as a Dean Faculty of Medicine, Public Health and Nursing Universitas Gadjah Mada, also as a medical expert team at Indonesia COVID-19 Response Acceleration Task Force. The discussion will be led by a moderator up to next 1 hour 15 minutes, yeah. Before the discussion begin, let me to introduce our moderator in this afternoon session, yeah. So the moderator is Dr. Danang Srihatmoko. He was born in Sleman, Special Province of Yogyakarta, Indonesia, on 29 of May 1980. He is a lecturer at the Faculty of Geography, Universitas Gadjah Mada. He achieved his bachelor degree in Geography at Universitas Gadjah Mada in 2002 and continued his postgraduate studies in Master of Science in Geography in Paris 1 Panthéon Sorbonne University, France, 2005 until 2006, and then continue his PhD in Institute of Geography, Paris 1 Panthéon Sorbonne University, France, Paris, from 2006 until 2009. And from October 2017 until now, he appointed as the Director for Partnership, Alumni, and Global Initiative, Universitas Gadjah Mada. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our moderator today, Dr. Danang Srihatmoko.
Thank you very much, Mas Adit. Good afternoon in Indonesian time, Pak Rector, and also to our distinguished speakers. First, Dr. Tara Morakesaram, and second, Professor Ova Emilia. Thank you very much for all participants and also all speakers who present virtually in this DREaM event. So I'm Danang Srihatmoko, as presented by Mas Adityawan. I'm guiding a discussion for today for around next 1.5 hours. So we in this session we will have two speakers as mentioned by Mas Aditya, by the MC. That the first speaker, Dr. Tara Morakesaram, yeah, and the second, Professor Ova Emilia. So before we start the lecture from two speakers. First, I would like to introduce the first speaker, Dr. Tara Morakesaram. She is the team leader for non-communicable disease and healthier population at WHO Indonesia. Dr. Kessaram is a public health physician, yeah, with over 10 years of experience working within the national, regional, and international clinical and the public health organization. She is originally from the island of Bermuda. She studied the medicine in London, in UK. Yeah, after working as the junior doctor in the NHS and moved to New Zealand, where she did the specialty medical training in the public health and medicine. As well as at the UK and the NZ, Tara was worked at Fiji, Solomon Islands, the Philippines, and the Bangladesh. She worked with the WHO in the Western Pacific region and Southeast Asia region for over 5 years. In the current role as the team lead for non-communicable diseases and the healthier population at WHO, she leads a growing team which provide leadership and technical advice on chronic disease and their risk factor, mental health, nutrition, environmental health, health equity, and the health promotion. So, Dr. Tara Morakesaram, you have 20 minutes to deliver your lecture, and now screen is yours, please.
Thank you. Terima kasih. Thank you so much, Moderator. Assalamualaikum. Selamat siang. Pak Rector, Directors, and Dean. Pak Rector, very nice to meet you, and thank you for those kind words. Can I just check that you can hear me okay? Yeah?
Yes.
Great. Fantastic. And could I have the slides, please? I think your team was going to share them for me. Thank you so much, Wesley. Perfect. Great. Okay. My sincere thanks to the team at UGM Office of International Affairs for inviting me to speak today. It's really my pleasure to join you and give this presentation today at the 12th UGM DREaM. My greetings to all the participants from around the world. With the theme of this year's DREaM conference being Resilience Amidst the Global Pandemic, and with this being your first session, I thought I'd take this opportunity to set the scene and just reflect on what resilience means and what it looks like in the context of health with reference to the pandemic and at different levels in society, at the individual level, community level, and system level. I'll just pause there and check because I saw the chat box go with someone having trouble hearing me. Is it not so clear? Okay. Give me 1 second.
FAYZED, any better?
Yeah, it's better, but could you please your microphone might be closer to you. Thank you.
Can you all hear me okay now? Any better at all?
Yeah, it's much better. Yeah, it's much better.
Okay, great. Sorry about that. Okay, so I'll just recap. So what I'm hoping to do with this presentation is to set the scene and reflect on what resilience means and what it looks like in the context of health at different levels, individual, community, and system level. So with that aim in mind, I hope to be able to enrich your concept of resilience. And I hope that in the coming days with this presentation, you'll be able to reflect on what resilience means in your personal and your professional life and in your communities and your societies. And maybe if I'm really lucky, perhaps this presentation will help you generate ideas in the future about how to build resilience in different aspects of your life, your communities, your institutions, and your organizations. Next slide, please. So resilience is a very popular term and it's quite the buzzword. When I was thinking about this, I became a little curious. I wanted to know how popular resilience is as a term. So I went on to Google Trends and I entered resilience as the search term to see what the web searches for this word have looked like over the years. So as you can see from that graph, it's definitely a subject of increasing interest over the years. And you often hear resilience talked about a lot after natural disasters. But you can see that spike at 100, the highest spike there. That means that's the peak popularity of the word. That peak is this year in April 2020. And you can see that peak is relatively sustained so far. So I think that speaks to really the far-reaching impact of COVID-19 and our collective understanding that this is a time of immense disruption and change, that we need to navigate our way through this and beyond. And maybe we're searching for the tools to do so. Next slide, please. So what is resilience? There are many, many definitions, and there's certainly one main image that comes to mind, the rubber band, signifying elasticity, the ability to return to the original state after being stretched. So this is a solid starting place for thinking about resilience. Up until a point, of course, the metaphor kind of breaks down a little because we know that when you stretch a rubber band too far, it breaks after that critical point. But still applying this idea to general life. So one definition of resilience is the ability to cope with a stressful situation. So this definition captures that the trigger or the event is one of stress or adversity. But I find it doesn't go far enough. Especially as the coping part, you can have maladaptive or unhealthy coping mechanisms in stressful times. Another concept I like is resilience as the ability to rebound from setbacks. And I'm often reminded of the saying, maybe you've heard it before, that setbacks are just setups for comebacks. I really like that. Again, though, there's a missing element here. Resilience, I would argue, it's not just about bouncing back to the original state or how you were before the stressful event. Resilience includes the ability to recover, but also to adapt to a new situation in order to continue to thrive and to develop in a way that enables you or the system to better handle similar shocks in the future. So in resilience, there's this element of transformation. There's a key point that I would like to stress. Resilience is not a characteristic that an individual or a community or a system either has or it doesn't have, and that's it. Resilience can be built over time and develop over time, especially with every test or challenge one faces in life. Next slide, please. So my specialty is public health medicine, and the classic definition of public health is the science and the art of preventing disease, promoting health, and improving the quality of life. And that middle part, promoting health or health promotion, that's a specialty unto itself. WHO defines health promotion as the process of enabling people to increase control over and to improve their health and the determinants of their health. And health promotion has several components, and you can see those here, which are related to resilience, including public policy and creating supportive environments for health. And I'll talk about those later. For now, though, I just want to make the connection between resilience and developing personal skills, which you can see near the top of this framework here. And this framework is called the Ottawa Charter for Health Promotion. And it's a founding framework in this field. So developing personal skills includes providing information, education for health, and enhancing life skills. With information and enhanced skills, individuals are better equipped to exercise that control over their health and their environments to make choices conducive to health. And this is an essential part of resilience, and that these skills inform, guide, and enable individuals' responses and adaptations to adverse events. Next slide, please. In COVID-19, a large part of developing those personal skills is providing accurate information about the pandemic and prevention measures for individuals to take, such as hand washing, mask wearing, and physical distancing. For someone with chronic conditions like heart disease, this would mean knowing that they have a higher risk of severe illness with COVID-19 infection, and that they need to take extra precautions to minimize their exposure to the disease. For someone with diabetes, it's them knowing how to closely manage their blood sugar levels and adjust their lifestyle and medications to prevent complications from diabetes, especially when it may be more challenging to see a healthcare worker during this time. For everyone during the pandemic, this knowledge includes when and how to seek healthcare safely, especially when essential health services may be limited. It might include how to manage stress or use calming techniques to get you through moments of the day when you might be anxious or worried about the situation. It might also include knowing how to remain physically active at home so that you still get the recommended amount of exercise in your day to keep yourself healthy. This information and these skills enable individuals to adapt and to remain in control of their health and their lives, to keep themselves healthy and safe when in the midst of uncertainty and stress. So this is resilience at the individual level. Next slide, please. So let's take it out a level and let's think about resilience in the community context. And of course, there are linkages between individual resilience and community resilience, with each enhancing the other. So community resilience can be seen as the ability of social groups to withstand and recover from unfavorable circumstances and to be able to adapt and be stronger afterwards. Community resilience, it's developed through the social relationships, and in times of stress or shock, you can see it through the mobilization of local resources or shared resources to respond and to support each other. Resilient communities have high levels of solidarity and mutual trust, and those features within themselves contribute to positive health and well-being. So in COVID-19, perhaps the example that first comes to mind of community resilience is when you have people supporting their neighbors or their friends, delivering food or essential medicines to those who might be in the higher risk category for severe illness following COVID-19 infection and who are sheltering at home. And I'm sure in your context, you can think of many examples of community resilience. But at the broader level still, thinking about local populations still, community resilience can also be seen when different sectors come together locally to coordinate the response. For example, health and education sectors working together to keep children and young people safe, or volunteer organizations working with local government for food distribution, or even just all sectors coming together to share accurate information and disseminate the same messages to minimize the risk of myths or facts, false information rather, spreading, which could jeopardize people's health. If these networks or connections or support systems didn't exist before the stressor, such disruptions can help to establish them, especially when the survival or the well-being of a whole community is at stake. And if we actively nurture these networks and connections between people, resilience can be built up and will help communities to respond to, adapt, and transform again when faced with future shocks. Next slide, please. So I'm going to add to our concept of resilience now, especially in the health context. I've spoken about resilience being the ability to respond to, adapt, and transform after events. Another aspect of resilience, or one which enables a person or a community to be resilient, is to have a solid state of physical and mental and social well-being with which to start and which can help weather these shocks. And one of the most effective ways of achieving this is by protecting people's health and minimizing their exposure to risk factors for diseases. And so recall that diagram that I showed you before on health promotion. Key components were public policy and creating supportive environments. And so the best example I can give you, which is especially relevant to COVID-19, is tobacco control legislation. We know that those who smoke have a higher risk of severe illness following COVID-19. And so with high prevalences of smoking in many countries still, this means that huge portions of the population are vulnerable to severe COVID-19. So how can this vulnerability of populations be reduced? So through population health measures such as tobacco taxation, bans on tobacco advertising, sponsorship, and promotions, which would reduce the number of smokers in the population and would create populations with a higher level of collective health. And then this has implications for health systems' ability to cope when it translates to less tobacco-related diseases and ill health. Next slide, please. Okay, so speaking of systems, we're going to take one more step out and we're going to look at the resilience of systems. And this, I think, is probably a university course within itself. System resilience is the ability of a system to absorb, anticipate, or recover from shocks while adapting and transforming structures and processes to enable positive outcomes. So I just want to highlight that this definition adds another dimension, anticipation of those shocks. So that means preparing sufficiently for potential adversity in the future. During COVID-19, the issue of health resilience, health system resilience has come to the fore, and we've really seen the strain on health systems and the health workforce, especially from this pandemic. With the rise in chronic diseases, however, health systems, especially in developing countries, were actually under a heavy burden before 2020, and this pandemic threatens their ability to function effectively even further. Global health supply chains as well, especially for personal protective equipment, they've demonstrated that they're not as resilient as they may need to be to respond to pandemics. And certainly scholars are discussing what this means for the future, how to achieve resiliency in the supply chains. Does it mean more local manufacturing of equipment? Does it mean having multiple suppliers and less reliance on single sources? So going forward, for each part of the health system, we need to look at where the vulnerabilities are and which need to be addressed. For example, unequal distribution of the healthcare workforce. For example, more healthcare workforce in urban areas as opposed to rural areas. And access to care, less easy access to care, again, in rural or remote areas. We need to look at sustainable financing of healthcare and protecting people from having to spend catastrophically on healthcare when they get ill. We'll need to invest in prevention of chronic and infectious diseases and in primary health care rather than the intense focus on treatment and curing, which has been seen to date. And we'll also need more agile and robust health information systems so that we have timely data and evidence on which to act. Next slide, please. So I want to echo Rector's thought here, and this is just food for thought. This is a worldwide event. Successful response and recovery can only be achieved when all countries are working together. So the solutions to this pandemic and our future prospects may lie in how resilient we are, not as individual nations, but as one world. Next slide, please. So having taken us from the individual level to almost the global level, in lieu of a summary of what I've just said before and that journey, I'd like to end by coming back to the individual level, to you, with a couple of thoughts on building resiliency. And again, keeping in mind that resilience develops over time. And I think as students, you're really familiar with this with each exam or a test you face. Hopefully with each one, it becomes a little less stressful over time, not more stressful. Hopefully find ways to manage your stress or reduce the pressure or gain a different perspective and get through it a little bit easier each time you face a test or exam. I'm not a psychologist, so I'm gonna frame this last part in the context of what I've personally found helpful for me in the past months. And recognizing, of course, we're all in different situations and we're all in different positions. Some of us may be more fortunate and have more resources available to us than others. So recognizing that there are inequalities that exist. So this is a hard time. And sometimes I feel an odd expectation to say that everything's okay, that I'm doing fine, I can adapt, I can be flexible. I don't know where that expectation comes from, but I've learned or remembered that it's okay to admit that this is tough and to say when I'm not okay. I'm an introvert, but even working from home for this long, I've missed people and I've been lonely at times. And this feeling took me a while to recognize. It's been a long time since I felt loneliness. So to address this, I connect with friends and I reconnected with people over the phone or online, trying to avoid Zoom fatigue a little bit. But it helps to reach out and to talk and hopefully laugh. It also helps to connect with people through courses such as this one. So I really do applaud your participation today. Recovery is important. Giving oneself time to recover is really essential. And for me, that means just switching off from work or from studies for a while, taking a break from screens, and giving more time for sleep. Being patient with myself, especially recognizing that there are going to be ups and downs over the day or even just within the day. And that's okay, but just to be patient with myself. Exercise at home, that's helped my mood immensely and it's kept my spirits lifted. So I can't highlight the benefits of exercise enough that I found. When everything seems so uncertain and the goals that I had set for myself seem so far away, they now seem up in the air. For me, it helps to rethink my goals and to focus on parts of them that are more within my influence and the small steps that I can still take towards them so that I feel more in control. And importantly, I remember my sense of purpose. Finally, I actually will give just one piece of advice, and that's to seek help from friends, family, and healthcare professionals when you need it, and maybe even before, remembering that anticipation of need and preparing is a part of resilience. So I'm going to conclude there. There's a reason why this word and topic is so popular, especially now. It's because it's so important to help us through this very exceptional time. So it's been my pleasure and privilege to share some of my thoughts with you and ideas on resilience. Thank you so much. I wish you the best for this program. Terima kasih.
Thank you so much, Dr. Tara Kessaram. A very comprehensive and also very interesting talk on the concept of resilience and health, and also how we can build the resilience in individual level or in community level, and how and the ability of the community to cope with unusual situation, with the crisis, and also how we can bounce back better and come back to the initial condition, but also much more better, and also how we can adapt with the very challenging situation and bring to new new adaptation methods. So thank you very much for Dr. Tara Kessaram. For those who like to ask the question, please keep your question first, and we would like also move to the second second lecture from Professor Ova Emilia. Professor Ova Emilia is the professor for medical education. She was inaugurated as the Dean of the Faculty Medicine for the period of the October 2016 to 2021. And prior to the current appointment, she was responsible for the overall academic governance at the Faculty of Medicine at Universitas Gadjah Mada as the Vice Dean for Academic, Student, and Alumni Affairs. So she joined at UGM in 1990 at the Department of Obstetric and Gynecology and delivered lecture on the field of obsgyn, yeah, as well as the medical education. She also works closely with a colleague at the Department of Medical Education for comprehensive evaluation and the improvement of problem-based learning strategy in the competent-based curriculum for the undergraduate program in the medicine. She obtained her Master Medical Education from University of Dundee, Scotland, UK, before completing her residency training program in obsgyn. So after holding her specialization as obstetric and gynecologist, she was studying at the University of New South Wales at Sydney, Australia for the PhD program. She holds the PhD degree within the scope of clinical teaching and the consultant social obstetric and gynecology. Professor Ova Emilia, screens is yours now for next 20 minutes. Silakan Ibu. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Danang, for nice introductions. And thank you very much, Dr. Tara, for all the advice. I'm also delightful to join this DREaM lecture and meet with the future leaders, yeah, from various, of course, from various fields. I'm very sorry, perhaps it's a bit busy, yeah, because noisy, a lot of noisy. I'm in my office, and near my building there is a constructions undergo, so I'm sorry about that. So I'm going to share with you all about how the Indonesia strategy for the resilience during the global pandemic. As we already understand that the epidemic is spread very quickly and impacts severely to all of us. And as we also look at the new cases, never stop, and also the fatality is not yet stopped with all of this uncertainty situation, I'm sorry. With this uncertainty situation, of course, that resilience is pivotal for coping with stress and also to balance our life between health and also how we also balance between life and productivity activity. And as you know that when the WHO declared in 11 March about the global pandemic, 1 month later, Indonesia also declared that the COVID as a national non-natural disaster. And the number is growing. When you look at the global number, the confirmed case is around 55 million, and in Indonesia is 500,000. When you look at the number of the deaths, it's 1.3 million, and Indonesia is 15,000 million. So in terms of the number, the contribution is big, and we learn a lot about this pandemic. And I would like to share with you all how Indonesia faced these situations. And of course, I'm using the 9 strategies or 9 pillars to outline my presentations. So I'm going to share with you one by one of the pillars and how Indonesia's strategy and also how the real actions in Yogyakarta, especially in UGM, in our university. The first strategy is regarding the country level coordination, planning, and monitoring. That we establish a task force for COVID-19 rapid response early in 13th of March. 2020. So only 2 days after the WHO declaration about the COVID-19 as global pandemic. And this is head by National Disaster Management Agency, which again continued, about 4 months later, is reformulated as the Committee for COVID-19. That was on July. And these coordinations is working to the provincial and also district level, including in Yogyakarta. We in Yogyakarta have a unique coordination and collaboration between the provincial, district, and the university, what we call academic health system, which was established since around 4 or 5 years ago, which actually the mission is to have collaboration and coordinations. And even during this pandemic, the collaboration is even closer because we aim for one mission, that is to fight together against COVID-19. And this is play essential role, especially in supporting the release of several regulations in the provincial level. Like for example, that the UGM first already issued the Rector regulations about preparedness and prevention. And then 2 days later become disaster, UGM for disaster response. And 4 days later, the province also released about the disaster response. So this is a very good collaboration where what the decision from the university support the decision for the higher level, that is including what we face in the field. For strategy number 2 is risk communications and community engagement. This is very important. Indonesia already create centralized information. With this internet, this website, you can also check, and which also have a very progressive in terms of content, and it is also translated into different media. But the population also absorb about other information, and there are so many distorted information. So at that time, then the committee also launching a website, what they call as the hoax buster. And I think this is very important to have a coordinated information, which one is valid. So in these uncertainty situations, so the controlled information is very important. And as we look in UGM, we also create what we call as the pool of information under this website, the HPU UGM ACID. You can also check, and this is a collections of our sources, under the health promoting university. And this is also, I think, followed by other, that is Tropmed FK UGM ACID, that is belong to the one of the member of the task force in the COVID-19 from UGM. And this working together and translated to different media and already being used for different aims. Like for example, this website also served as sources for educational materials for students who work with the families. So we targeted here, this is nearly 492 families partnering with students using the WhatsApp group, and they educate the the families using the resources from this HPU UGM ICID. And these activities already being started since March 23rd. The other activities usage is also, it is the sources for communications. So to share through Zoom or webinars to the communities, to disseminate about the partner families for the new normal, or new normals at schools, at offices, or at supermarkets. So it is very, very daily usage information, or also used by the students, yeah, through direct engagement to community. So we have community service by UGM students, and they try to reach the grassroots, yeah, and especially in rural areas, and they provide information, distributing masks, or creating self-help group with the local teenage, yeah, to help them to give more information. And they use the central pool information. For pillar number 3 about the surveillance, rapid response team and case investigations. Yeah, we, this is actually, this is not new, yeah, because we also have, I think, followed about the global influenza surveillance, yeah, and we use this system for COVID-19 platform, and also duplicating this and enhancing several support, like for example, the health informations for Public Health Emergency Operations Center, and also the SEERS, the system, referral system, and online for the hospital, and also central data informations, yeah, and this being enhanced for the surveillance, rapid response teams, and case investigations. And then what we have done for this pillar is we set up initiatives also for self-screening online. Yeah, this is also continued, followed by developing and supporting a team for rapid response and case investigation, especially for tracing and also testing. And we also campaign about self-isolation, like for example, the university also provide isolation shelter for asymptomatic person. And this is also followed by the district and the province regulations. Still, that UGM also, like here, you can see the call center, yeah, the team for rapid response, and also system for tracing and mobility analytics, yeah. In this case, we also have several, contribute to several innovation, like for example, serum rapid test, yeah, serum survey for assessing the transmission trend. And also this is now being developed and trialed, yeah, and hopefully we get this device soon, the GENOS. It is with using respiration sample and analysis with artificial intelligence. Yeah, this is all our methods that is supporting for surveillance and also case investigations. Besides, we also contribute in designing several transmission model and application. So this is to better understand the behavior of the COVID-19, which of course, finally will influence the management strategy. Pillar number 4 about points of entry, international travel and transport. So the government already initiate the health alert card in the beginning of the period of pandemic. And then after that, there are several policy and regulation that is related with the social restriction. And in the provincial district or like in the university, also try to translate this regulation. Like for example, we have to postpone travel, and also in the university, most of the academic activities are online, and we also have to get the student self screening and also self-isolation for 14 days for all new students from other provinces. For pillar number 5 is establishment of the laboratories. This is also the COVID pandemic urged us to maintain and develop laboratory, which aim for improving access on and also the quick result, yeah, either for diagnosis or surveillance. And here the government, especially the Ministry of Health and also Ministry of Education together, NGO and also diaspora work together and contribute for this establishment. Like in UGM, set up also 2 diagnostic laboratory for COVID-19, and now we have 5 devices for this testing, which was donated from the government and also the NGO. Other things, we also adopt and disseminate standard operating procedures for collection, so management and also transport of COVID-19 specimen. And one of the contribution for UGM is the design of the sampling chamber. Yeah, this is initiate an innovation as well. And also we do the share genetic sequence data and virus material, yeah, according to the established protocol for COVID-19. This is the global initiatives, and the scientists from UGM also contribute, yeah, for this and already published in a journal. For pillar number 6 is infection prevention and control. Of course, this is a big challenge, and the first challenge in Indonesia is the high level of low literacy for personal hygiene, and this is our challenge to improve the community awareness of public health prevention, yeah, like for physical distancing, frequent hand washing, and also about how if you are coughing etiquette, yeah. And we use all channels, yeah, not only the social media, but also televisions and also the printed materials, yeah. And we also improve the capacity of the health service, including the hospital. Like for example, we have to refresh and also update information. This is mainly done by Ministry of Health, and also training for all health workers, and also how to manage the hospital zone, yeah, with red, yellow, or green, yeah, relating with the high risk of transmission, and also reporting all cases that is related with the infections. And actually, this is interesting because when we create a policy, like for example, mask, then it creates another challenge. Like mask mean that we have to consistently provide the supply. Yeah, if we ask the people to wearing mask, but then there must be difficulty and will be very expensive. And so like mask in here, we create the reuse mask. Like for example, together with the local business, yeah, creating the trend for mask, yeah, with batik or with many others, yeah, and also how to re-sterilize, yeah, and also how to distribute to the community. We also need need to maintain the provision of the PPE, the personal protective equipment, especially for medical staff, yeah, that treating patients. So this is also have to be sorted out, yeah. So ensure availability, and we got some also donations from individuals and also an NGO. And this is all coordinated by the National Disaster Management Agency, or the NPB. Pillar number 7, about the case management. Yeah, we already increased the referral hospital, yeah, which identified the number is 100 in April, but in August it is increasing 132 to 700 something. So this is just to show that the preparedness is increasing. And we also create for the mild cases, the field hospital, and we differentiate between the mild cases and the moderate or severe cases for the hospital, and also creating the referral system. This is following the current system, the SysRoute, but just add up the COVID-19 cases. And also, we also involved in solidarity trial, global solidarity trial for testing the vaccine, also drugs, yeah. UGM also involved in plasma convalescence therapy. Pillar number 8 is about operational support and logistic. So this is the government makes sure that the COVID-19 supply chain system is there. So it should be fulfilled with the contribution from the government, NGO, and also from the education sector, CSR, community, and also philanthropists, of course. Like, for example, in UGM, we do a lot of charity action, yeah, that perhaps we buy the mask and donate the mask to the community. And also, we also open a charity for students for the online quota, so to maintain their studying, because they have to pay for the quota, internet quota, and also some logistic. And the interesting thing is the initiative of Sonjo. This is a community movement that is set up by our staff in Faculty of Economy, UGM, yeah, to support all people during this difficult time. Yeah, the principles is they interact between interconnect the demand and the supply side with a very interesting logo, yeah, theme, no one left behind. So we have to work together in this difficult time. And they even already organize several activities that really appreciated by the community and also all the parties that's involved. Indonesia also provides some social support to the people, especially that is affected by the COVID itself. So many unemployment, yeah, so many unemployment, so many family that is cannot afford food. So there is some program that is provided by the government, and this is quite big also. So this is we arrived to the last pillar, that I think we have to be also maintain the essential health service and system, because meanwhile we only concentrating to the COVID, but then the problem, like with my specialty, like the maternal mortality, so the maternal mortality, and then baby also mortality is increasing. And also the immunization is not so many baby that is not getting immunized because of the COVID. And that is why that the Ministry of Health already reoriented the health service to modify to the new normal, and how this guideline is being also disseminated to the public. And to conclude, I would like to share several, I think, challenges that we need to work on, that we need to maintain the community engagement, yeah, to maintain the health behavior, such as what Dr. Tara already mentioned, exercise and good nutrition and promoting self-care, yeah, and also promoting mental health, don't forget, yeah, through social connectedness, to prevent loneliness, yeah, especially if you have to be isolated, yeah, and also team support for health worker to prevent risk of depression, anxiety, and also burnout. We also need to guarantee other things like access to education and information. We have to modify the method and involve the students. And this is very important. We have very interesting experience with students where students are the millennial group and very easily adapted with the new situations. And the last is to provide and modify the method for access, either for the health service and also for the other productive activities. So we can have a nice and balanced life ahead. I think that's all. Thank you very much for giving attention to these materials. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Professor Ova, who already delivered very nice and also very comprehensive talks on how Indonesia responds on this pandemic and this crisis since the beginning. Yeah, it was already explained about how the government established some regulation and as well as how to disseminate the information to the public, and also the pillars that we already established in Indonesia, and also some cases that we already learned from Professor Ova Emilia. So now we are moving to Q&A session. So I noticed that a lot of questions at the chat box from participants. So I would like also to invite, you already write in the chat box, but I would like to invite some participants to ask directly to the speakers. First, I would like to invite Janisa Kudera to ask the question, to communicate directly your question to two speakers. Please, Janesa. And the second is Christy My Sistona. And the third is Christy. Christy My Sistona has two questions. And the first for the first session, I would like to give the opportunity to Dani Saputra. Yeah. First, Janesa, please.
Good afternoon, Dr. Tara and Ma'am Ova. I would just like to ask for Dr. Tara, what do you think will be the secondary public health effects of the pandemic? Will this have a lasting effect on general or public mental health, or might there be an increase in illnesses linked to sedentary lifestyles due to prolonged lockdowns?
Thank you. It's a great question. And I think Dr. Ova also referred to some of this, especially with immunization. And the answer is yes, I think we can expect public health impact for years to come. And I was just jotting down some notes. I think we're going to see that through at least three ways. One is the impact on the determinants of health. So the impact on education, which is an important part of keeping people healthy. Potential impacts on the food system, which could either lead to more undernutrition or overnutrition, depending on where you are. The impact on healthcare services. So I think Dr. Ova spoke about impact on immunization, all those prevention programs that were stopped. We might anticipate impacts of increased outbreaks of other infectious diseases. And I know there's been real concern about the impact on tuberculosis as well. And then on the chronic disease side, you're absolutely right. Our diets are affected, our physical activity is affected, our mental health is affected. So that could increase risk of chronic diseases as well.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Tara, for your very clear answer. So we can move for next question to Christy Maesistona. Please, Christy.
Hello, good afternoon, Dr. Ova.
Hello, yes, please.
Hello, yeah. I'm from Philippines and I am actually a public school teacher. At the same time, I'm having my PhD in English and Language Studies. And then my concern is about my students because in public universities and schools, we are more totally focused on teaching the students with the academic subjects. Now, my concern is how are we going to teach students in terms of resilience? What are possible programs that you could actually gives us some idea with, and how are we going to implement it in the school and as teachers? Thank you.
Sorry, for you, you also have another question about the AI, please.
Oh yeah, that will be for the second speaker, sir. For the
Yeah.
AI, I am interested with that. Is it the AI that you're going to use in your country is a homegrown invention, or is it coming from other country? And how were you able to go with the process in terms of using AI in testing the COVID positives in your country? Thank you so much.
Okay, maybe Dr. Tara, could you please to answer the first question, and then Professor Off on the second question about the AI.
Sure, I think I missed a little bit of the first question due to the connection. But I think you've probably got the answer in your question already. We do need to focus on teaching our young people life skills and how to be resilient, and also destigmatizing mental health a lot. There's a lot of stigma around it, and people don't feel comfortable talking about their mental health. So I think school-based
Kasi
programs around
i-register
those
sa
areas
camera
are
tungod sa anong
exactly what's
init.
needed.
Dili dapat naka-cover siya sa.
Sorry, could you please turn off your microphone while Dr. Tara is still answering the question?
Sure, that was sort of my brief answer. I think
Okay.
Dr. Ova might be able to add as well, based on the presentation, as well as the AI question.
Okay. Okay, so we move to Professor Ova Emilia from the question of Christy with regard to the AI.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is related with Genos, right?
Yes, I think so.
The
Yes.
questions about Genos.
Yeah, exactly.
So
exactly.
that is actually the quick detections for the person, the suspected person for COVID-19. So actually the principles is using the respiratory, and then is this catch, and then it is the volatile organic compound is catch by the computerized computer, and then translated into like a pattern. And this is what we call it the artificial intelligence. So at this moment, we try to examine all the person, either with the positive or the negative, to look at the pattern. So the more person having tested in these devices, so mean that the device can create more more valid result. And now we are still in the clinical trial for diagnostic. So to make sure that the accuracy, the validity of this new devices compared to the, like for example with the swab, is comparable. So now still in the phase of clinical trial in the hospital. So hopefully it is this December perhaps. Hopefully December is.
We are in the final stage of diagnostic test, and also
testing.
Yes, and hopefully we entering for the mass production for the next month, hopefully. Thank you, Professor Ova. And for the next question, I would like to move to Mas Dani Saputra. It seems from Indonesia. Please, Mas Dani.
Halo, selamat siang.
Selamat siang, Mas Dani. Please.
Okay, question to Professor Ova.
Yes.
I'm from Indonesia, from West Borneo or Pontianak. You know, typical of Indonesian people, like in my place, but not all of them. There are some people that actually do not obey the health protocol. They go outside without wearing a mask and do not keep distance between them in public. So even there are some of them that believe COVID-19 is just a conspiracy from the global elites. it's just a conspiracy, they say. So how do we convince and educate the others to comply with the WHO and government policies on the health protocol and also accepting the vaccines so that we can stop the spread of COVID-19 and live normally? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think this is not only the questions from you. I think a lot of people looking for this. Why there are so many people that is not believe that there is a COVID? Yeah, even we already show that this is a some some phenomena that we got now. I think this is the the main functions of the risk communications, and also the how we communicate to people, and the validity of the sources is very important. Yeah, like Indonesian perhaps like to read social media, where sometimes the validity of the information is not guaranteed. Yeah, so I think this is also one of our challenge to share with people about the, like for example, the government or the official website. Yeah, that is already being prepared by the government. The other things is, I think this is what we call as the information distortion, where it shows there are some kind of the perhaps failure of communication, which can be caused by many things. Yeah, one of which is because now the information we can get information from anywhere, and the recipient of the information is not screen the information. So then the confusion is the result. Yeah, confusion is the result. Yeah. I think the most important thing is the pillar number 2 is about the center of the centralized information that should be disseminated to the people. Just only trust this information. I think that is my opinion. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Professor Ova Emilia. So for those who are still very curious about the genus, so you will have a very special session about that directly from Professor Kuat at the 11th of December. Yeah, you will learn about him, about how it works, and what is the target of the innovation about this COVID-19, especially for rapid assessment, yeah, rapid tracing using a genus. Yeah. So we would like to move for the next question. So wait for a moment. We have so many questions here. I have to select one by one, but due to very limited time, I would like to invite Bimo Aristu Prananda, please. Please, Mas Bimo. Okay, otherwise we are moving to next question from Ming.
Yeah. Hello.
Yes, please.
Hello.
My question is for Professor Ova. As we know, the capacity of the different city is different. Like in one country, we have a developing and developed city. So I just want to know, for the developing city, how to control the pandemic, just based on the data analyze or some the smart city system, things like that.
Yeah, thank you very much for your question. That is right, Ming, that we have a lot of challenge about this, because the geography of Indonesia is so scattered. Yeah, we have more than 17,000 islands. Yeah, with different, I think, facilities. Yeah, for the for the area that is in remote and with I think not enough facilities for health, and this is also one of the challenge we have. So we try to have like a referral system, yeah, referral system. Like if one of the area do not have, like for example, the laboratory, laboratory in there, so then we have to send to other area, and this is also help, help. And with this during this seven months period of pandemic, we already built many more, for this, because we realize that this is very important for testing and knowing that the status of a person, so now it's becoming more and more much better than the first stage, the first stage, I mean the early months of the pandemic. So as I already mentioned to you about the growing number of the laboratories now is expanding. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you, Professor.
Thank you. So for the next question addressed to Dr. Tara from Charles Allen Herpaque. Charles?
Hello.
Hello. Yes, please.
Hello. By the way, I'm Charles from Philippines, but I'm currently studying here in UGM, Universitas Gadjah Mada. So, yeah, I'm currently here in Yogyakarta.
Okay, good.
Okay, so for actually, I have two questions for Dr. Tara and Dr. Ova, but I think these questions are applicable to both of them since they are in public service, right? So for the first question, since recent researches have already established, and Dr. Tara have mentioned in her presentation that smokers are more prone to COVID infection. So in the case of Indonesia, how the government of Indonesia will strike a balance, between protecting the health of its citizen, considering that from my observation, staying here in Indonesia for like almost 8 months already, there's a significant number of smokers in this country, and keeping the significant contribution of tobacco industry in country's GDP. Because, by the way, I am an agribusiness management student, so I know about this tobacco industry, and they say that the reason why the government is not imposing taxes for sin products like tobacco compared to the Philippines, because we have this sin tax law. So cigarettes in the Philippines are already expensive. But here in Indonesia, tobacco industry is like a significant employment generator. So you mean they employ a lot of people, especially in the community. So should the government impose taxes on the cigarette to make it unaffordable for the smokers, but at the expense of Indonesian citizens who mostly rely on tobacco farming?
That's Charles, it's a good question, and I want to address some of the myths related to tobacco farming and the tobacco industry. So the first, when you take into account the health, the social, the economic costs of lost productivity, and the environmental costs of tobacco, they far outweigh any revenue generated from the tobacco industry. The second is the concepts around employment. So WHO has recently released a brief for Indonesia on tobacco taxation, and that I will send in a link on the chat, but actually, so what it says is tobacco manufacturing generates only 0.6% of the total employment, and tobacco farmers represent only 1.6% of the workforce in the cultivation sector. And actually you see that when you switch to alternative crops, even the profits for the former tobacco farmers will be better than from farming tobacco. So there are a lot of the myths that the tobacco industry pushes around, the economic importance of tobacco. But so I want to just dispel those right away, and I'll send you a link to this brief in the chat box.
Thank you, Dr. Tara. And for my second question, for Dr. Ova. Okay, so now that the commercialization of COVID vaccines is drawing nearer, Because recently, I get 2 days ago, there are pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer and Moderna publicizing the impressive results of their clinical trials. Like specifically, that's around 95% effectiveness of the vaccine. So in your opinion, Dr. Ova, which specific sector should be given priority in receiving the vaccine? For example, the vaccine is already available. Which sector? Should it be the vulnerable sector like the rural or urban poor, or the formal business sector who are drivers of economic growth? So again, this is the dilemma between, economic and I guess the health also.
Yeah.
That's my question, Dr. Ova. Thank you.
Thank you. Your question, Dr. Charles. Yeah, and I think your question is related with both are about the policy, about policy, because policy is usually it depends on the the decision making should be like, for example, I want to relate with your first questions with by Dr. Tara, is actually should be decided in the government. Yeah. So because like Dr. Tara mentioned, what the government should decide whether they want to keep the industry or to keep the people healthy. If otherwise, yeah, if this is not regulate in the central level, then in the like us, it's difficult. In the field, it's difficult if it is not decided, yeah, in the central level. I totally agree with what Dr. Tara mentioned, because if the government, like the government mentioned, we don't want our people to smoke, then we can modify, we can change the policy, change how the way people to live with. Yeah. So I think this is important. Yeah. But for us, it's difficult because some of the like decision is not with us. Yeah. Like I'm in with the health. Yeah. Our campus already declared that we don't want to have a relationship with the smoking industry, cigarette industry. Yeah. Like for example, like that. But that's difficult. Even with our own staff, still there are some staff that still smoking. Yeah. So it's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah. So this is, yeah, like with vaccine also, I think this is also in the decision of the government. For us is I think the most important is for the most high risk people to get the disease. Like for example, and the number is not many. Like here in Indonesia, the first priority will be the medical staff, medical staff, because they have to take care. Otherwise, if they are not immunized, because they are every day having business and having touch with the infection, then it would be difficult for all of us. So I think this should be decided by the government, and together with all the stakeholders to consider about this aspect.
Makasih banyak,
Thank
Bu.
you, Charles.
Makasih banyak, Bu.
Thank you, Prof. Ova, and also Charles. And hopefully there is no smokers in this forum, right? Hopefully.
Except Charles.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Very interesting discussion with regard to the tobacco and also all stuff related to the smoking, yeah, and also with COVID-19 because it's related to the lung, healthy. So I would like to move to Dr. Tara with a question from Katrina Shaina Mer Sakares. Sorry for my pronunciation. Katrina?
Hello po. Yes po. I'm
yes,
here.
Please. Yes, please.
Hello. So to Dr. Tara, I have this question regarding.
Sorry, where do you come from?
Oh, I'm from Philippines. Hello.
Oh, Philippines. Oh, okay, good. Please.
Yes. Okay, so to Dr. Tara, I have this question. We are pursued to be resilient, especially during this difficult time. Also, the government here in our country is promoting resiliency strongly. However, there are some people who can't remain resilient for too long because of their circumstances in life. It's either they are homeless or they are marginalized. How should we address this struggle as a community? How should we help them to hang in there and transform like a rubber band?
A really good question. And it points to the existing inequalities in our society. Again, more resources for some and less for others. So I do think communities can rally around, and that involves really being explicit about our values, and those are equity and human rights. And this is about ensuring the basic human rights that people need as their baseline to be resilient. And I think for communities, they can mobilize their resources, either food distribution, for example. But I think what a lot of it's going to take is advocacy for our governments to provide more social nets for those who are more marginalized in society, and to really think about the policies that they put in place and how they either decrease inequalities or increase them, and making those who are more vulnerable already even more vulnerable and impacted by situations like the pandemic. So I would say advocacy and policy change at the high level, and definitely mobilizing community supports.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So we still have more question from participant. This from Sol. Yeah, Sol. Yeah, I move to Sol. The name, the nickname here is Sol. Addressed to Dr. Ova, Professor Ova, with regard to the mortality rate in Indonesia.
Yes.
Please. Yes. Please.
Thank you. Yeah, my name is Sol. I'm from Brazil, but I'm living in Indonesia for almost 2 years now. And my question is for Dr. Ova. During your lecture, I understood that the mortality rate among babies has increased in this time of pandemic. What are the measures taken during the new normal to prevent it or to deal with the situation?
Yeah. Sorry, can you reiterate the questions?
Oh yes. Can you hear me? It's because it's raining
it's
here.
A bit,
yeah, it's raining here. I am in Palembang now.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. During your lecture, I understood that the mortality rate among babies has increased during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So what are the measures taken? Because I heard that you were talking about there are some things that they should to change during the new normal, but I couldn't get what kind of things, what kind of measures have been taken, to deal with.
Thank you very much for the questions. It's actually the increasing mortality for the baby and also the mother is because they are afraid of getting contracted of infections. So they are afraid going to the hospital. So they try to like postpone going, well, even when the baby is having problems. So that is one of the point why there is increasing level of mortality or being neglected. Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is okay. It's better to stay at home than going to the hospital or to the clinic. Yeah. So that is one of the problems. So the Ministry of Health try to give a new guidelines about how to take care during this pandemic situation. Because even not only the mother, yeah, but the health providers also afraid getting contracted, so they prefer to stay. Oh no, we don't accept any more like patients, yeah, something like that, yeah. So now because of the Ministry of Health submitting and having the guidelines, now it's getting better. So the information and also the awareness of the health providers is increasing. So this is a pandemic, but they are being killed not because of the COVID, but by other causes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Thank you very much for the very interesting questions. Not only the baby the parent who are very afraid to go to the hospital. For myself, to go to the dentist, I'm also afraid about that. So this is also a problem. So sorry, we are moving to Timo. Yeah, Timo asking with regard to the using on the mask. Ask Timo,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah, I am. Okay. Thank you for the useful explanation, Dr. Ova. I'm Dimoris too. I want to ask, prevention with single-use mask is indeed more effective than reusable masks because they are standardized, but the single-use mask will cause new problems like garbage accumulation. As far as I know, the government wants to develop standardized reusable masks. Then, what I want to ask is how the development of standardized reusable mask is in order to overcome the problem of single-use mask with accumulation and also ensure the prevention of transmission. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much, Dimo. That many innovation and research is now being carried out. Yeah, yeah. Like for example, in UGM also want to I think make a mask that with standard of KN95. Yeah, and now it's still being, but still with, because it is produced locally, so it is more cheaper and accessible. And I think what your questions is also the questions of our researcher, yeah, from all over the research center that's try to looking for that, because we as you mentioned that the single use create another problem, that is the waste. Yeah, the waste as well. Yeah, so I think we need to balance between both and look for the new approach, yeah, for taking care of this. Yeah, thank you, Dimo.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr.
Thank you, Timo, for your question. So we really understand that now with the pandemic, a lot of problem raised, but now we are forced to innovate, and even there are a lot of accelerated innovation. Yeah, accelerated innovation with some product and also some equipment with regard to COVID-19. And also we are now entering on accelerated disruption. I think we are talking about a disruptive fall pension, etc. But now we are in the stage of accelerated disruption. So I think with regard to the lecture of Dr. Tara, is very relevant that we are now in the process of how we can make ourselves resilient, not only in the individual level, but also in the community level. So I think a lot of effort that we are conducting now, especially in education. Now we are dealing with online education. Yeah, now we are participating DREaM is also part of our resilience, I think. Yeah, in terms of education. So for the next question, yeah, still some question to Dr. Tara. Yeah, with regard to your position on WHO. Yeah, from Novanda Amalia. Yeah, Novanda Amalia. Are you there? Okay. Otherwise,
Hello?
yeah.
Hello, can you hear me?
Oh yes, yeah, sure. Please.
Okay. So thank you for the opportunity. I'm Novanda Amalia. I'm from Universitas Hasanuddin in Indonesia. Okay, so to Dr. Tara, I would like to ask, so the world have been through a pandemic before. For example, the H1N1 virus. And I would like to ask, what's the difference between that pandemic and now? Because I was maybe too little back then, so I wasn't very aware about the pandemic. So is there a difference? For example, maybe in the positive side is the technology is more advanced, and maybe in the negative sides, maybe this pandemic is more deadly. That's what I can guess. But I would like to see your perspective on this. Thank you.
Thanks. That's a great question. I might share this with Professor Ova. there are definitely differences. H1N1 was an influenza virus, and the world has a little bit more experience dealing with influenza viruses, and the H1N1 pandemic was different in that different incubation periods, different modes of transmission, and different clinical impacts than the coronavirus, which we're seeing now. I guess also since then, the world's become increasingly more globalized as well, and that definitely contributed to the spread. Dr. Ova, would you like to chip in?
Yeah, I think just to add what already mentioned Dr. Tara here, I think the other factors is also you mentioned about globalizations. Like during the H1 and N1 is a bit different. Perhaps social media is not like up to now because that gives different burden. Yeah, like psychological burden is very important here, which make that for example, the information is distorted and people more panicking than before. When I think Dr. Tara, when we look at the number about like for the fatality rate is not as big as the previous one. Yeah, if you look at that. Yeah. Am I right? Or you want to provide some numbers?
Compared to H1N1, I'd have to go back to the numbers. But I think the problem with the fatality rate is you sort of have to wait for quite some time because there's such a lag period. So we're only going to know the actual fatality rate later on. And I think there's a range of estimates. Some are much higher than that which was seen for H1N1.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Tara, sorry, I have may I ask question with regard to back to the vaccine actually. So we have in the world population now, I think more than 6 billion people, yeah, with our world population. But now some pharmaceutical company now in the process of production of the vaccine. Of course, there is a lack of the production rate and also the global population. So what do you think, Dr. Tara, with regard to this gap between and the availability of the vaccine and also the number of population, world population? Is there any alternative for the future to respond this gap?
Sorry, the gap between the ability to produce the vaccine and the people who need it,
and the need the need, actual need actually.
Right. Yeah. So I don't. I think this is probably something that's the $1,000,000 question. How do we produce enough vaccines for everyone, and will it actually be everyone? I mean, and is it going to be more than just one dose? Do we need more than one dose? Do 2 doses? So the actual demand versus supply is a huge question to address, and I think the pharmaceutical companies are really investing and not knowing really what the demand will actually be or whether the vaccine will actually work. So there's a lot of risk in that too. And of course, even when there is a vaccine, it's going to take time to distribute it, and our supply chains again are going to need to be really robust. So what I would say is, as I know that there's a lot of hope on a vaccine being able to end the pandemic, but in the interim and also beyond, we need to go back to our basic public health measures of hand washing, mask wearing, physical distancing, and testing as well. And so I really hope for rapid testing and really reliable rapid testing machines, which I think will help us get back to the new normal.
Yeah. I think so. The culture of the people to keep themselves from diseases is the key, right? I mean, the new behavior of the people, I think, the new culture.
Public health prevention.
Yeah. So still a question from Fadullah Hakim. Fadullah Hakim is addressed to Dr. Tara again. The question with regard to the impacted pandemic issues. Fadullah Hakim. Okay. So I think I read almost all the questions. So do you still have a question from audience, from participants? Please directly.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, Fadul Hakim, please.
Sorry. Okay. Actually, I have two interesting questions. One for Dr. Tara, and another one is for Dr. Ova. Okay. So I think I likely most want to ask Dr. Ova on the opinions on how Indonesians are currently fighting the pandemics. So okay, as Dr. Ova mentioned, there are currently 9 pillars, right? If I'm not mistaken. And then, as we can see, even with those 9 pillars, the rate of numbers of death in Indonesia is keep on rising. So my question would be, does the Minister of Health in Indonesia play its role as a minister or just close his eyes during this pandemic? Because I can see that there's a lot of issues in Indonesia right now. And recently I hear that there's people are demonstrating on the streets, not practicing the social distancing during the, I believe, the Rule Cipta Undang, something like that. So what is Dr. Ova opinion on this?
I think I just want to reiterate what Dr. Tara already mentioned, that I think the most important thing is keeping the healthy behavior, because like the rising is not only because of the government not enough strategy for that, because like the people do not comply with the regulation, right? They create the problem by themselves. Like for example, we just have at the end of the November, we have long weekend.
Yeah.
At that long weekend, we see that many people traveling, and also they don't comply with the 3 measures, yeah. Wearing mask, and then keep distancing, and also hand hygiene. And we can see that in the second week of November, the case is rising again. So there must be a reason. So not because we don't prepare, but I think here health should start with the awareness of the community about this, that this is important. Like Tara mentioned, vaccine not guarantee that we are going to be free from this COVID. Yeah. But the most important thing is the behavior of the people. I think that is the principles of the new normal for our future life. That's my opinion. Thank you, Fadul Hakim.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Ova. So I think I get some insight from you based on the question and answers given. So I would like to add on something. So, okay, this is based on my experience when coming to Jakarta. So I see there's a lot of like old people sitting by the street, try to make some money just to buy the food on their own. So does the government have some sort of like initiative to help those old people?
Yeah, we have like a social department that taking care of this. You know that they also have like the housing that special for them, and also some activities that is created for them. But I don't know, yeah. This is what in the field that we look at, that people do not like to be taken care by the government. They escape because they can get more money in the street than staying in the shelter. So that is also the problem. I think we have to work together from the community, and also from the government have to be committed. If they have already the regulation, then they have to implement the regulations, yeah, accordingly. So not without any consent. Yeah, I think that is my opinion, my Padrullah. Yeah. Where are you from?
Thank you.
Where
I'm
are
from
you
Malaysia.
Oh,
From
yeah.
Malaysia.
Which
From
part
Kuala
of
Lumpur.
Malaysia? Huh?
Kuala Lumpur.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
You still stay there, Oh, in Kuala Lumpur, right? You are a university student. Which
Yes,
university come from?
I'm currently final year student from University Technology Mara.
Oh, UTM. Okay,
UITM.
okay, okay. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Fadlullah. So I just want to ask one more participant to ask the questions. So I would like to invite, this is the last because with our time is up. Angela Arhandi.
Yes, here.
Yes, please.
Okay, sir, I kind of have two questions, but the first one will be for Dr. Tara. Sir, I'm a pharmacy student, and I was like wondering how WHO has a universal health coverage program, and I was like wondering how the pandemic would affect the goals and the future implementation of universal health coverage, and like would like resilience be very helpful to complete all those goals. And the second one was for Dr. Ova. I was wondering how you and UGM had a lot of ideas in trying to tackle COVID-19 in Indonesia. Like, how did you manage to implement all of that and execute all the ideas? And are you planning to enlarge your engagement to help other areas in Indonesia? Thank you very much.
That's
Please,
a great
first, Dr.
question.
Tara.
Thank you. That was a really great question, especially on universal health coverage. So I'll say two things on universal health coverage. So the definition, as you all know, is that all people have access to the quality services they need without having to suffer financially for them. So I think in relation to UHC and the pandemic, we've learned two things at least. Universal health coverage and achieving that offers us resilience and protection against the impact of such pandemics, because universal health coverage includes access to health services, which increase our health, but also public health infrastructure, which means we have the adequate infrastructure in place to prevent outbreaks of diseases and respond to them effectively so that we can stop the transmission of diseases. So having UHC offers in itself resilience to the impacts of pandemics. And then on the other side, the pandemic has really showed us how important universal health coverage is, given the immense health packs on the population, and many people will be suffering financial hardship because of this. So excellent question. I think, and I hope that this situation gives us more motivation to strive and achieve UHC.
Okay, for the next, yes, Professor Ova, please.
Yeah, thank you very much, Angela, for your questions. Yeah, actually what we mentioned is UGM is only one university, one of the university in Indonesia, and we have 20 faculties and schools. So we have comprehensive studies, and research in this university. Of course, what I mentioned in this presentation is not only for the university. It is for the country, like all the innovations. And we also collaborate with some industry, to produce what we already innovate, so to be benefit for the country itself. Thank you, Angela.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Ova. I just want to highlight what Professor Ova mentioned with regard to the innovation and also how to implement in Indonesia. I think the genius that you are going to learn from Professor Kuat is not only the contribution from Faculty of Medicine, from medical doctor, but also it's involved also the scientists from faculty, for other faculty, from faculty of mathematics and natural sciences, from physician, and also some the scientists from faculty of economic and business and faculty of science. So different faculties are involved there, because it's not only dealing with the health, but also the instrument itself, and also AI, and also how to market it, and also a lot of aspect involving there. So I think that we cannot work alone with regard to dealing with the pandemic. So and also with this this final session of this afternoon, because of a time limitation, we don't have much time. I would like to thanks to the contribution of Dr. Tara and also Professor Ova, and very interesting discussion. And you are very active to ask a lot of questions. Thank you very much. And because of time limitation, I would like to deliver back the screen, the screen to Mas Aditya. And thank you very much for your kind attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Ladies and gentlemen, please give applause virtually for all the speakers and also for the moderator. Thank you very much, Pak Danang, as moderator for this discussion. And also thank you to all of speakers, Dr. Tara and also Professor Ova. And this is the end of our meeting today. But before we close this agenda, we can have a photo session together, right? So everyone, for those who haven't turned on the video, please turn it on first. Once again, everyone, for those who haven't turned on the video, please turn it on plus, yeah. The photo session will be taken twice, yeah. So for the first session, maybe the operator is ready for take a picture. So for the first session, 1, 2, 3. Once again, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, once again, thank you very much. And we remind you all participants for the day 1 quiz will be posted on Google Classroom. Yeah, once again, for all you participants, for day 1 quiz will be posted on Google Classroom. Thank you for your attention. There will be another session on Friday next week on 27th of November 2020. Don't forget to join that, yeah? Take care of your health. We do hope that the COVID pandemic will end soon. See you next Friday. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you. Thank you, Prof. Ova. Thank you, Dr. Tara, and all
Terima
participants. Thank you.
kasih.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank